Boom. Cool. So, Juicy Ninja, Chuck and C, episode 8. We have the lovely Emelye Dwyer on. How's it going?
It's going really well, guys. Thank you so much for having me on today.
No, thank you for the time. I almost introduced you there as Emelye Woo, because that's what your Instagram handle is. That's my
we should start with that one.
Yeah, that's my first thing is, where did Emelye Woo come from?
What does it mean?
Where did that come from?
So a lot of people think that when they meet me that I'm going to be Chinese, but that's obviously not the case. I'm very much Asian. It's a nickname that my dad gave me because I had lots of digestive issues as a baby and now. But he used to put me over his arm like, daddies do with their babies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His dad hand that he had. And he'd sing a little song to me because I had terrible colic. And he'd go, Emelye, Emelye Woo, what's the matter with you? And he'd sing over and over again. And it wasn't until I was about 9 or 10 years old and I was filling out some forms for my mum. And the lady said, child's name's Emelye, middle name Robin. I went, what? What's this? It's Emelye Woo Dwyer. That was my first experience of an identity crisis. So.
Who am I?
Think about what you will, yeah.
I've been lied to my whole life.
But it just stuck. Dad always called me Woo. My sister called me Woo Bear, and it's just always, it's always stayed. So I'm not.
Do you ever get called by your like proper name and just it just goes right over your head?
So when I hear Emelye Dwyer, it does make me sit there and be like, what? I do pay attention. I think it is very
it's like,
it's quite affectionate Woo.
Yeah.
Like but I'm Coach Woo, so all my CrossFit kids, they all call me Coach Woo. So
that's cool. Because I know I've got like 8 different nicknames.
James has got
and, I can't remember the last time I've been called by my actual name. But anytime someone says James or something like that, I'm like, it's going away. It's like, James, just doing what I'm doing. James. I'm like, but it's just.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's my name. That's my actual name. I'm like,
it's nice how we think identities of what, kind of who we are as people. It's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. That was a good story.
There we go.
There we go. Straight in.
Boom. Straight
in. So what got you into CrossFit? How did that start?
So I wasn't really sporty growing up at all. I played lacrosse for county, but that was pretty much it. But I danced and I was in musical theatre, and it was always kind of, obviously it wasn't set in stone because it hasn't happened, but it was always foretold that I would go on to be an actress, and I would that's always kind of what I wanted to do. And then I was poorly kind of from the age of, well, I guess my early teens, really badly around kind of 18, 19, 20, in and out of acting jobs. And then I got really out of shape on tour all around the UK. Came back and was like, right, I need to get back into the fitness. So started training at a Globo gym, got my heart broken by one of the staff members, and literally the next day walked into a CrossFit gym. And you know what it's like when you've got a broken heart. You go full steam. They say that broken hearts make bodybuilders. So I definitely stitched up the gaps in my heart with burpees and rope climbs and handstand push-ups stuff.
There you go. Cool.
What's lacrosse? So I've always wondered it. I always hear about people playing lacrosse, and I've got this like vague picture of it in my head. Is that the one where you've got the little basket on the end of the stick?
Yeah, so it's kind of
is that what it is?
Yeah, except you don't hit the ball to you catch it. A basket on the suspend on the end of the net. It's extremely aggressive.
I was about to say it's brutal, isn't it? It's
we weren't allowed to play without mouth protection. Most of the girls.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to think. A lot of these girls it's prolific in private schools. This sport.
Yeah.
This was a competitive school that I played, but they can be passionate, shall we say? Passionate and violent at the same time.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
But it's great. It's fierce and it's fast and it's it's good.
Yeah. No, I've always because you hear about it like it's big in America, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Big in American colleges. Yeah.
America.
I couldn't quite. I get that shinty. I think what is it like Irish football or something? Like, I just all think it's all the same, but I was like, okay. He said lacrosse. I was like, boom, this is my time. Someone that's played it. Don't know anyone that's played it. There we go. I can find out what this.
Do you still play, or is that
So,
got?
I haven't played since I was at senior school, so around about 13 or 14, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I left that a long time ago. I put my heart and my soul into my dancing and my singing and my acting, and there wasn't, because I spent so much time doing that. That was my social life. There wasn't, I had to make a decision. Something had to go. So oh well, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like a game you could spend a long time doing.
It was fun while my face stayed intact.
Yeah. Yeah.
After the third nose job, I had to quit.
No, that's fair. You've got quite a class set up behind you. How's your training in lockdown been? It's something I'm quite intrigued to hear from like everyone we've got on, because like I know me personally, I thrive off of having other people like cutting about, being beside me doing stuff, and then you get other, like Liam doesn't really care. He just do his thing. Like, it doesn't matter if there's someone there or not. So I'm just wondering, like, how's that been for you?
It's interesting you should say that, actually, because I think I thrived off of other people more than I gave other people credit for, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or gave myself credit for. I've always pretty much trained on my own because I followed my own program. Yeah. And of course, I'm very all or nothing. So I seldom deviate from a program. A couple of times I have in lockdowns, I've gone for a run with my boyfriend or something. Yeah. But it used to be really kind of like, just, yeah, I'd never deviate. I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but I can't. So kind of starting to train at home, I was of the mindset that this is fine. I can do this. I can deal with it. I train on my own, but it's been far harder than I realised. It's definitely built some resilience. It's built some character. And I think it's made me a little resentful to some things and certain things, and taking for granted just having other people around, like you said. Energy is contagious, isn't it?
Oh, totally. I think I'm kind of similar, like in the fact that I didn't really realise it until I wasn't able to do it. And I was sitting there doing some thrusters that you pinged me over a workout, and I was like, well, like I could go hard here.
I could pick up the bar now, but
I was like, I could make the time cap and get into the next part, but just don't really know if I want to.
One of those workouts where the time cap keeps changing just while you're in it. 20 minutes, 25 minutes. 25 minutes. It's a 30-minute workout. It's fine. The intensity's still there.
No, it's good. I'm fortunate in that I am very autonomous. If my coach puts the tokens in, I will go to the point of where I've had to say to him, if I'm only meant to do this at say 6 or 7 RPE or 708 or a certain intensity, then please tell me, because unless otherwise they do go until I die. So, unless you don't want me to, you don't want to lose an athlete.
Then that's cool. That's cool. How's your kit holding up? Do you get a lot of how's the weather? How's the rig holding up? Because I'm currently, I've got a load of stuff in my leaky garage, and I've got a Rogue squat rack, but it's starting to get a little bit of rust on it already, and I'm like, I've got to cover that up, and it's in a leaky garage. How's your stuff outside?
So I was really fortunate. Obviously, the people listening to us can't see this, but you can see the rig kind of over my head here, suspended over or on my partner's parents' patio. Yeah. So we live in the annex of his parents' house, and it's got its own patio area, so that's where it is. Yeah. I was really fortunate that the lovely guys, Rich and Tracy from Moduflex Custom Rigs, they actually lent me this rig.
Oh, that's cool.
They are that kind of company. They're really good people. They just wanted to help. So it's actually a part of the rig from the FRF UK event that was held in Bristol last year. So British Champs. So it's meant to be kind of 10 berths long. So it's super high. Yeah. The rings are high enough for, say, a 6 foot something dude to do ring muscle ups on, which obviously we don't need. And it's designed to be inside. So it is obviously accumulating some rust, but It's holding fantastically.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, touch wood. I don't want to wood.
Yeah.
No, the all the other kits come from them except for my plyo box, so my kettlebells, dumbbells, bumper plates, and they're doing so well. Yeah, and they are constantly outside, always being
Constantly outside.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
And lasted is the patio itself. There are several star
Yeah.
slats that I'm gonna have to address when
Move the mats out of the way, like they were always there.
It's like, oh, that's always been like that. Yeah, I've done that. I've smashed a few of the driveway slabs up.
At what point in your sort of starting CrossFit and until now, did you realise that you were quite good at this and you wanted to start competing? So obviously you did your lacrosse before, so that's a competitive sport. Did that carry over, and then did you go full at that, or did it just kind of come naturally? Or
lacrosse really fizzled out. It kind of, I don't really even mention it, to be honest. I think you guys are the first people who probably said about it too. I was really competitive in theatre, and I would always, like, if I didn't win, I was just like, oh, I wanted to win. Like, obviously you want to be about the process, but when it came to CrossFit, I don't think I did realise I was good enough to compete. I was kind of just told by people to enter competitions, and the first open I did, I think I placed, relatively well considering how long I've been doing it, and the fact I didn't really even know what the open was at that point. And it was kind of like, oh, okay, right. And with acting, of course, you can put your heart and soul into an audition, a performance, and all these people in the right hand corner, they think that you're the shit, they think you're great, and the other corner they think you are shit. That's the same audition panel. So it's really subjective, but in CrossFit it's very black and white. It's binary, objective. You are the fittest, fastest and strongest, or you're not. And I found that element of getting out what you put in, and I know it isn't always like that. There's a lot of other things that come into play, like genetics, the other stuff. But to a certain degree, the more you invest in your sport and your craft, the more benefits you will reap. So that for me was kind of like this is cool. I like this. It feels good. But yeah, I didn't really. I obviously massively digressed there, but I think it gave context to what I didn't really realise. I just entered some stuff and
just kind of happened.
Yeah, and it was that zero expectation and pressure on myself, I think, that really helped, because I had nothing to prove to anybody else except myself and doing my best. And some of those earliest days are the most precious, right?
Cool. So obviously going forward in the sort of competitive career, I was at the competing in the pound for pound event in 2017 that you were in.
Fun.
that was my second year at it. I had just come back from getting surgery on my wrist and things like that, so it wasn't my best appearances at pound for pound. But you did real well that year. So that was cool.
I weighed in as the heaviest chick there.
Did you? There you go.
Made for a fun weekend.
68.5 kilos, 68.9 kilos.
Nice.
And I remember having a meltdown outside with the lady who owned the box, Unit 22.
Yeah.
About being weighed, and because I knew I was going to be so heavy, so
we smashed it. That was a fun one. That was the snatch year.
Yes.
One full two hand.
Yeah, something like that.
I didn't enjoy that one. Didn't do so well on that one. So that's going through that, and then obviously you've had a bunch of success with like Battle of Britain, Castle Games, the British Fitness Racing Championship, and you came loads of first places. So going through all that, and then you were in the regionals on the athlete program team.
Yes.
So obviously two different sort of levels of competition. How does the experience at like the high level? Not that the Castle Games and things aren't high level, but it's just different kind of caliber.
Oh, relatively, I know what you mean.
Yeah. How do the experiences sort of differ there, and the nerves going into competitions like that when you get to these sort of levels?
I think if I had taken my place at regionals as an individual, it would have been a very different experience in terms of nerves. And so having the other guys around me, of course, lovely Charlie, who's now a mama, Josh, who's in the States, and obviously Chris, really lovely teammates. Having them there, I think, definitely softened the transition from, say, local national competition to that international stage, for sure. In terms of the structure of the competitions, they are so different because they have to be. You know, they've got however many people paying exorbitant amounts for tickets that they have to keep, you know, dear to time. All these really high level athletes, they've also got to keep the agents of happy, keep the coaches of happy. There's lots of balls in the air that these bigger competitions are juggling. In terms of as a competitor, those more national competitions, they were so much fun. And I think I was in such a good place that year because I got the first win and I was like, oh shit, I can do this. I can do this. And, you know, then I got the second one. I was like, well, can't have been a fluke, you know, because the events were so different. And and then obviously functional fitness champs was such a diversely structured competition, you know, designed to be so, of course. So you get all those different elements of fitness. And I think then winning that was just the most exciting feeling. So that confidence carried over into the regionals, which was just, you know, which was lovely. Because you've got the holding pen, you've got that moment to cool off. You're not constantly going from one to the other. You're further away from the crowd. I think sanctionals for me were the most nerve-wracking out of everything. Sanctionals and actually European Championships. Compared to regionals, those other competitions, I was happy at regionals because it was my biggest goal and I have my family and friends there. So, but yeah, sanctionals were another level.
So we were down at European Champs, the last one there. So that was cool. It was a cool event. Those competitions are always good.
Always run quite well.
Event really does. I was so disappointed there wasn't an endurance event this year.
Because I remember speaking to him beforehand. It was supposed to be off-site, and then something kind of fell through. And
I don't know. I mean, obviously I work with Carl because I do some work for the athlete program. But when it comes to European champs, I think he's never wanted to even have like an iota of a question about his professionalism. That he never even brings it up with me. He'll be like, "Are you entering? Are you doing the qualifiers? They're there," and that's all I'll get from him. Like,
that's all you get.
Done.
Cool. Give us a hint. And he's like, "You're kidding me? I don't get shit."
Like, we've been through this. No.
No.
Like, please.
Cool. So that brings us to our ongoing question that we ask all of our guests. So at our sort of experiences that we've had at competitions, we've heard some crazy questions being asked at athlete briefs. And then we've asked like athletes like yourself this. We had Carl Steadman on. We had Carl Saville on.
He had some good ones.
So we've had organisers and we've had head judges. And we've asked them, there's crazy questions asked at all levels. So what, if you off the top of your head, I know it's a hard one, but what is some of the craziest things you've ever been asked, or if you've even asked some yourself?
Crazy stuff yourself,
So one that immediately sticks out to me that I've had the conversation with a few people about is on chest to bar. When people go, because obviously as ladies, you know, we do, well, some people do, I don't have, you know, boobies. So the chest to bar movement could be quite aggressive, you know, and quite abrasive on the body. So, you know, a lot of time in practice, I was about to say rehearsals then, a lot of the time in rehearsals, which they are, you know, there's not a load of smacking on there. Of course, in competition, anything goes. But I remember somebody saying to me once, "Oh, does the chest actually have to touch the bar?"
Like, well, that's just a pull-up.
It's
chest
just a
bar.
pull-up, yeah.
And to coin Chris Quinney's phrase, he says it's chest to bar, not chest near bar.
That's good. We've had like touching the floor. There's been
What direction do I need to face when I'm doing my overhead squats?
like,
but literally, like maybe 4 minutes before that, the guy was like, "You need to be facing the crowd."
Yeah,
that's I think it maybe just a combination of nerves. People don't listen either. Like a lot of people just don't listen. Like myself included. I sometimes don't listen, but like
as at the time in Tenerife when I just didn't know what the workout was at all, and I missed the entire movement, and the judge was like, "No, come back."
I mean, that's different though. The brief was in Spanish.
Yeah,
and none of us. Well, you can speak Spanish now.
It's not your first language.
Yeah, I was like,
like, okay, just nod your head.
Because we'd stand and you would turn around and be like, English. We were like, yeah, sweet, let's do it. Right. We're not going to be in front. We'll just copy everyone else.
And hope it's an AMRAP.
Yeah, and there we go.
So you kind of touched on your sanctionals experience there, and you kind of probably almost answered the question for us there, saying that the regionals that was like your top end goal. But what were the experiences like competition wise? Maybe not so much the nerves, but like regionals versus sanctionals. You've kind of been at both. What did you prefer, almost as a competition setup? Maybe
what regionals compared to sanctionals?
Yeah, like
they were very similar in terms of the professionalism of how they were run. I think all the sanctions were given the outline of, these are the protocols we want you to follow.
Yeah.
So it's nice going to a sanctioned event and knowing what you're going to get. You know that you are going to get these kind of standards. You know your briefing is going to be thorough and detailed. You know that you're going to probably want to die several times over the weekend. You might get, it was, I think Reykjavik was my most eye-opening experience, because it was, first of all, a country that I had no experience in. And have you ever been to Iceland?
I have. I went through it briefly going to the States. We had like a 7-hour layover, so like we went to the Blue Lagoon and paid like £900 for a can of juice and like stuff like that. But like we were there for a little bit, but not enough to really kind of.
It's just an environment like I've never known. It's almost like you're on the moon. It's beautiful, outstandingly beautiful, but bizarre in terms of the. I'm trying to think of like the mountain ranges and things like that. The arena was very, very dark, so the whole time it was almost like you were on stage. The big screen around the middle. It was, I think, the Reykjavik competition was nearer to one of the so almost like Dubai and that sort of a level. I can imagine how it must feel, real kind of high end competition, but kind of walking out into the darkness, everything going silent, the crowd being in complete darkness, you can't see any of them. It wasn't those big garish lights that you get at European champs, and the music's like and you're like, I don't know, should I be doing this with my hands or should I be
yeah
it was very slick. The rules were very set in stone. I think it made me far more nervous. It was my first sanctional as an individual. Obviously I did strength and depth
as a team.
Equally as professionally run. I'm not, by saying Reykjavik was great, I'm not the others weren't to cover my ass there. People are like, they like to bring you down on anything, don't they?
Oh, definitely.
But it was, I think, that level of professionalism and almost militant style briefing and introduction and all this made me so much more nervous.
Right, okay, yeah.
So I'd do it again tomorrow though.
Yeah, I think that's what's quite cool about the sanctionals, because you start to, like, although I am very much a regionals, like, I'm in that camp, like, the sanctionals are quite cool because you do get to experience, maybe not, the culture, but just the differences in like the places you go and how. I think that's maybe the benefit of them, but also maybe the detriment to them as well. But like like going like strength and depth where everyone's really cool, or going to Iceland where you get that kind of like that almost militant. Yeah, like you were saying, because like I remember just going through like airport security, not even airport security. It wasn't that. What am I talking about? We were going through somewhere. It was a queue to get into somewhere, and it was very much right, you, and you're like, go. But it was just obviously the way they do their stuff. So it's quite cool that you start to see that
It's very assertive.
In the different competitions, which is I think a benefit of the sanctionals. So you start to see different things happening.
I hope if regional does come back, that sanctionals are still as well supported. Obviously, they wouldn't be sanctioned events; they would be back to being independent events. I hope they are as well supported by athletes and the community, because I think they've done an insanely good job.
Yeah,
really great.
It's cool as well that we can now watch competitive CrossFit throughout the whole year instead of just the three sort of things. And then obviously as an athlete like yourself who's competing at those levels, we've heard it before that the Open, then regionals, and the games, you had to be healthy on that weekend. You couldn't afford to get the cold or injured or have a bad weekend or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now you can kind of pick and choose what's going to work, and if you have an off sort of competition, there's maybe next month or the month after, or there's the opportunity there for the athletes to have variety.
I think it does give athletes a better opportunity to plan their season for sure, definitely, which is lovely. You know, you want to have a good choice as an athlete. So
where do you see yourself like going in the sport of CrossFit? So like where's your end goal? Like if you were to say, right, this is where I know I can get to, like, and where do you want to be?
Like, I mean, I think every athlete wants to be at the pinnacle of their sport. They want to get to the highest level they possibly can. I think at the end of the day, you also have to be realistic. I want to go as far as I am physically and mentally capable of. So, you know, that might only be top 5 at sanctional. It might be qualification for the games. It might be one champ. I don't know. I mean, if somebody knows what Sam Briggs is, let me know. We'll lock her in a box. I'm down with that. Queen. And all the other girls, obviously. But you know, I always used to say, yeah, I want to go to games, 100% I want to go to games. But now it's kind of like, I would like to, but I don't want to fixate so hard on doing that I lose sight of everything else that's going on. Because if that never happens, you know, and that's not me I'm not putting a cap on I'm not trying to bring my inner self down or something. I really remember vividly the clip and the story of Katrin hugging Ben after she won the games, saying, I'm not as happy as I thought I would be. And that's always resonated with me, being like, oh yeah, if you reach your goal, it doesn't automatically mean happiness, does it? So
that's true. Because I think again, maybe another plus side to the sanctionals, like your bigger ones. So like maybe like, okay, the CrossFit Games thing for someone might not be attainable, but that's their goal. But they qualify for a Dubai, which is, it's obviously not the same, but it's still massive in terms of what you're doing, what you're getting to do, where you're getting to go in the world. So also might be not compensating for not making the games, but it's still a real cool place to go. I know for me, if I was at the competitive level and I qualified for like the Mayhem Classic, I'd be mad. I'd be like, right, I'm retiring after this. This is class. Like, I've made it. Like, because that for me that would be really cool. So, like I said, I think maybe sanctional, bringing those in, especially the really big ones that are kind of like the Rogue Invitational. That looks class. Like
that. I mean, an invitation to Rogue. I think you know that you've got a little bit of prestige behind you.
Exactly.
Although I made the joke the other day, it's like, how do you know made in CrossFit when your pistols are a warm-up?
Fucking pistol.
Single leg deadlift into pistol. Wow, I've really made it.
Oh God.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for that. Cheers. I saw Lucas Holbert. I pinged in our chat doing a one-legged pistol thruster thing with like a 40-kilo dumbbell, and I was just like,
he's crazy.
I'm done. I quit.
Like, it's very rare that some CrossFitters say that a movement is unnecessary. Like, they're a one-legged pistol, a one-legged thruster with a 40, 50 kilo dumbbell. Like, no, thanks.
I'm with you.
That's like touching on the grid league sort of vibe. There was it deck squats that they do. It's like a burpee into the bottom of a pistol, and then they stand tall. And
Gosh, I don't know. I need to look into.
Then they have like a wall ball that's like the size of my body, and it's crazy.
The grid stuff is mental. Like, it's just mental.
Yeah, I didn't think, because I remember back when I had just first kind of got into CrossFit, there was the CrossFit Games, and there was the Grid League, and I was like, wait, what's going on here? But I kind of faded away from what I seen, and then it's kind of come back a little bit now, or I had no idea about it, so it might appear again, but it just looks like anarchy. Like when a CrossFitter watches an event and thinks something else is mayhem.
I don't really know about the other leagues going on. I was such a throbber for CrossFit, so
yeah.
Well, if you have a look at it, it's I can't even, like, it's so just out there.
Yeah,
like, it's unreal.
Grid League.
Grid League.
So that's your sort of competition style of things. Because we know you do a lot of coaching for kids that you mentioned. What got you into that? Did you, through your sort of theatre and things like that, did you coach in that, or if it's
so I always helped out coaching the little ones when I was at school and then senior school, and I used to choreograph all the routines for the local youth theatre, my mum's youth theatre. I ran some dance troupes, taught some dance classes. I've kind of my mum's a teacher, my sister's a teacher, 2 out of my 3 female cousins are teachers, so it's very much in the family to educate and share knowledge and nurture small people. I say small people, majority of my teenagers are taller than me, but all of them are taller than me. So yeah, I think I've always had a real passion for sharing knowledge and trying to inspire people and encourage people to grow and become what they want to become, or at least believe that they can. I started coaching at my local box, helping out, and then obviously, as everyone who loves CrossFit, I did my level 1. And that was kind of it, really. I was like, wow, this is great. And I only went into full-time coaching when I moved up to Essex from Hampshire, where my family are. And sorry, there's like a car driving down the road. I'm not being shot at. He does that every day. He just needs to change gear soon.
Yeah. He just needs to change gear.
So yeah, when I moved up to Essex, I started coaching full time for lovely CrossFit Colchester. Huge venue. If you've never been there, I thoroughly recommend that you go. It's a great facility. And then I started the kids program. So I did the kids qualification, fell in love with it all over again. Was so inspired. That course was phenomenal. I'm now actually in the middle of taking my Brand X method qualification, which is kind of an OPEX hybrid for kids that's been put together by the team that devised the CrossFit Kids training program as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So it's so obviously since lockdown we haven't been able to run our classes, so I've been doing them twice a week via Zoom.
Yeah, I've been doing some Zoom. Yeah.
So we've got a lot of bean cans that have been being pressed.
Yeah.
It's been a wild ride, kind of in lockdown with these kids, but they teach you so much just by being themselves. And since I started coaching children, it made me understand how adults might learn better as well, and the analogies that you might be able to use and examples of how you can feel something in your body. And I think when I coach adults, you can definitely tell that I coach children. Really sorry if I'm patronizing you. It's not. It's me.
I spend a lot of time with kids. It works though.
I was the same of for my coaching. I used to coach parkour and free running to to tiny little kids to then adults and primary schools and things like that. But then in the same day, I would have a room full of 30, 40, anywhere from like 8 years old up the way to wherever. And then some schools were younger, but I would have a class 40 or so of those. And then later on in the night, I'd have maybe 20 adults in a CrossFit class. And sometimes it's the same. Sometimes the kids are easier to manage than the adults are.
Yeah.
but just even
think an adult to sit cross-legged on the floor with their finger on their lips.
Yeah.
Even though you want to.
The closest thing I got to that was making a class take a knee about like of the adults, like take a knee. Like, you're not going to sit on the floor, but take a knee. But just things like I'd set up a class and I'd be like, cool, this is the route we're going to do. I don't know if you've seen the free running side of things. Just
I've watched loads of stuff like kind of on Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it as such.
Yeah. So essentially we just teach them at that level how to move and just get creative. Like obviously in CrossFit or in gymnastic style stuff, there's like set ways to move. Whereas I would just get them to move however they wanted to move. There's a course in front of you, get from here to there, however you want to do it. And then I would set it up and be like, cool, this is the rough route they will all take. And they would just show me, like, I was like, well, I didn't even know that was possible. But I didn't know that was how did your brain, okay, cool, I can get on board with this. And then so that kind of helped my coaching as well, of like how to see things differently, and then put that into the CrossFit side of things, like how to coach things a million different ways instead of that one set way. And that was cool to, like, working with kids is amazing. So it's a fun thing to do.
I'm a big fan.
yeah So that's cool. Do you coach, is it only kids that you coach?
Now it is, yeah.
Oh, cool.
I do have a few one-to-one clients, but I don't actually coach any adult classes anymore yet at the moment.
Yeah.
So watch this space. I'd love to go back to it, and that is the primary goal, to definitely get back into coaching.
Cool, awesome. So your social media is how we obviously knew about you, and how most of the world knows about anyone these days. But I think so. From my personal, from looking into your social media, you don't only just post like the good days, which 90% of the world, like how amazing their life and how amazing days have been. But you go into sort of the bad days and maybe the hard training days, and when things don't go so well, which I think is like major, like mega inspirational to myself and to a lot of people that are around me and that I know. But what kind of, has that always been something that you've done, kind of the good and the bad, or?
I think part of the way that I am and I function is that I tend to overshare.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's bizarre because at the same time I seldom trust people when I first meet them, and it takes me a while to really trust people. I tend to really overshare certain elements of my life quite freely. And some people are like that, I suppose, but I've always found that by sharing your experience, if it helps just one person, then it's worth it. Obviously you do have to weigh up expressing something that's happened or is happening, and kind of building that dialogue is quite stressful on the self, obviously. So you do have to weigh up the risk reward of it. I've always found that it's always far outweighed the risk, and I found the sharing of it quite therapeutic for myself. Kind of getting off your chest can be, I don't know if cathartic is the right word, but that process of sharing, I suppose it's essentially a form of journaling. Which I'm really into. Every night I do a bit of journaling, and here and there, if I'm kind of going through like meditation states or whatever, I'll do journaling then. But I found it almost like a diary. I think I'd be mortified if I somehow, I hate to touch wood, if I lost it or something like that. Because it is kind of a diarized journey of my training and my journey through CrossFit. So when I get feedback from people saying, I really needed to hear that today, that in a very narcissistic sense, actually for me then becomes my fuel. So if by me sharing what's happened, fuels that person and lifts them up and lightens their energy, they then share that it has back to me. It's that constant exactly that lovely chain reaction of share, support, and support. It's yeah, I guess selfishly I do it for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta look after yourself.
No, my you said how far do I want to go in CrossFit? I want to go far enough that I can inspire and help others. Like that's my ultimate goal. I want to be big enough that I can have a massive voice on topics and issues that I'm really passionate about. That's basically it.
Yeah,
that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
You're well on your way to that. That's ace. With the like you don't take yourself too seriously on some of your posts. I've seen a few photos with the what is it called, the apron with your bum out and things like that. Do you ever so obviously it's not when you're putting out there, it's like you said, it's for yourself and to help others, and it's not all about like some Instagram channels are okay, I have to post this for my sponsor and I have to look good to get sponsor and me and all this sort of stuff. Do you ever find any backlash off of those things? Obviously there's keyboard warriors, as they're all called, and people love to, like you said earlier, bring you down.
Love to be negative.
Yeah. It's ultimately, you know, I am a professional athlete. I have agreements in place with these people, and it's on a very business level. You know, the agreement is we send you X, you post Y, we deliver blah blah blah. You know, and of course those agreements are in place, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without those.
100%.
And I try to remain as authentically myself when I'm delivering that content that I am required to do. But I'd say probably 80% of what I put out is personal choice and hasn't actually been directed or led whatsoever. And it's I don't know if you guys have the business settings on your Instagram, so you can see how things are received and things like that. But when you look at the insights on a post sometimes, and you can see that, you know, 20 or so people have sent this to someone. And 80 so people have saved this post. And sometimes it might be something where you are putting yourself out there, or you are a little bit suggestive, or, you know, sometimes, you know, you sit in front of the mirror and you go, I feel really good about myself today. Boom, I'm going to say I feel good about myself today. But, you know, people who hate themselves are normally assholes to others. So normally people who show love to themselves are lovely to others, right? So there's nothing wrong with putting that out there. But then when you see that so many people have sent it, immediately that little demon in the back of your head goes, 15 of those people sent it to their friend going, oh, look, she's a slut. And we shouldn't care, you know, we really shouldn't care. But of course we do, because the majority of us are people pleasers.
The internet's
it's a
crazy place.
Weird and wonderful place.
Yeah, like I said, I try not to get too wound up, and I have days, and I find that once I'm in the rabbit hole, it takes me a while to get out of it, and I have to go, right, no social media now for a whole weekend, cut it off, and then I'm kind of back again. You know? So
I recently taken the Facebook app off of my phone. So I still have it on my laptop for work and things like that, but I'd find myself just mindlessly scrolling through things and then getting annoyed. Like, I don't follow this. Why can I see this? And
it's a bit crap as well, isn't it?
It's just ridiculous.
So like once you told me that, like it took me a couple of days, because for some reason I'm overly attached to it. I was floating over the app. I was like, but I can't. What if I missed something?
Like,
but then once it was gone, I was like, this is class. Like, I've got so much more to do with my life.
Well, that's the thing. One of the best things you can do on your phone is set yourself time limits for things. So time limits on certain social media, and some, you know, when it flashes up and says, you know, you've spent 30 minutes on this app today, it suddenly makes you sit there and go,
like, shit.
It's only 8:30 in the morning.
I know. And I've looked at the same post 16 times. I'm like,
grounded myself, aligned my chakras, and done all sorts of things by now.
Damn it. We're getting that back.
No, turn your notifications off though. In all honesty, that's one of the best things that I do.
Yeah.
I have no notifications for social media now, and it's freeing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. You mentioned your sponsors, and we were just wondering, like, because obviously we're just like average Joe CrossFitters. What's it like for, like, say, My Protein, for example, to come along and be like, we want to work with you? Like, that must be quite a cool feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can only imagine, because like My Protein are like, I don't really remember where My Protein came from, but they just almost seem to be like, right, okay, we're massive now.
Yeah.
16 years ago. 16
Yeah.
years they've been. Yeah, they had this event this year, which was, I think even when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's
yeah.
such a time.
Yeah, I know. So it was just, we were just like, right, okay, that's like, that would be like, it'd be like, what, you want to work with me? Like, that's cool.
Who am
Yeah,
I? What?
like,
That is how it feels.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, everyone loves praise, you know.
Yeah.
We all thrive off that lovely praise feeling, no matter how much we say, I don't need anyone to tell me.
Mhm.
You know, I am very much a people pleaser. So when somebody tells me I'm good at something, my tail starts wagging so much.
It's like, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was phenomenal, actually. And obviously it's a very new contract, only started beginning of the year.
Yeah.
It's the shoot that we did and the whole process of going through that. I think it did make me realize that, holy crap, like I'm in this now. This is real. Like we're not playing around. This isn't.
Yeah.
We're not messing about.
This is a legit thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it opens doors. You know, it meant that I could do certain things as an athlete and pay for certain services and access other things, you know, as a result of the sponsorship. So
Yeah.
it's that lovely feeling of feeling wanted and feeling good enough to be wanted.
Yeah.
But also that lovely feeling of, oh, holy shit, I don't have to sell all my clothes before the opposite appointment. Why have you got no pants left, Emily?
Well, I was like, we won't talk about that one.
20 quid.
Good.
That was cool. And that their clear way was a game changer for me and Jamesy especially. With
Oh
his
yeah. Turns out, like, I
strange
don't know what it was, like,
allergy thing.
whey protein. I'm now debating it, because it's either I'm allergic to intensity or I'm allergic to something in whey protein, because I was throwing up after all my workouts. But like, it was the milky stuff, like it just doesn't matter what brand it was. Like after a workout, I'd be like, right, boys, see you in 10 minutes. Into the bathroom and go. And the clear stuff is just like just boom, nailed it. I was like, oh, this feels good. Is this what it should feel like?
I really rate it.
Yeah.
Really struggle with milky drinks anyway. I mean, I'm completely vegan, so I don't have dairy products anyway.
Yeah.
I'm also allergic to dairy.
Oh.
Like quite severely, to the point of where it had me in A&E a few days.
Oh no.
Year before last European champs. Did you see that? So bird
Yes.
went out of the nest, and now the chicks are going mental. I don't know if you can hear that on audio, but it's
yeah,
mental.
just vaguely in the background.
But, yeah, really severely allergic. But so I'm not really into dairy products anyway. So the milking, even of a vegan shake, for me always has me a little bit like weird vibes in my body. Like I'm not quite dealing with this. You know, when it makes you cringe.
Yeah.
The clear stuff, the clear protein. And after you've trained, you don't want a milkshake, do you?
No. Yeah.
Juice, you know, like fruity juice or an ice lolly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, is there protein ice lollies? I'm sure someone will come up with that.
You could probably make them.
You can actually. There's a really nice recipe on the My Protein blog.
Well, there you go.
Plug. With the clear protein, to make it up as you would. Put it into your ice cream molds, and then drop some little bits of fruit, and then you've got your protein ice lolly. So
there you
go.
Really, really nice. Cool. Recommend. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Boom.
Awesome. So that little bird flying past you there brings me into the next bit. So one of my favorite things on your Instagram is wildlife with Woo. But my first question would be do you live in some sort of zoo because of the madness that you find just chilling on your squat rack or in a bush, or all we get up here is just like gigantic
seagulls. I saw a proper seagull the other day. Like I was out in the wilderness, like down. I can't even remember where it was, but it was like this tiny little bird, and I was like, "Is that a seagull?" And I was like, "It looks like a seagull." And then you come back home and like they're just like
Jurassic
ginormous,
Park
like
seagull.
aye.
It's crazy. Like seagulls, what's the story? They're stealing like little dogs out of gardens and things. They're
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy.
I mean, my mate had his sausage stolen once. He had
Yeah.
fork, and a seagull swooped in and stole his sausage, fork and all. But dogs, oh my god!
Yeah,
they are massive.
Ridiculous.
Massive.
They're like the size of some dogs. They're nuts. So yeah, where are you to find all these?
Do you live in a jungle?
It does look like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
My boyfriend's parents are phenomenal gardeners, and they have great pride in their gardening in their area. I mean, I remember they're also very private people, and I want to respect that, of course, as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
But so we, like I said earlier, we're really fortunate. We live in the annex attached to the family home. Was going to be temporary, but of course then we had lockdown, so we're here for a long time.
I'm still here.
I was going to say, still going strong. It's been absolutely wonderful because you know, we have got access to all this outside land, and they've got loads of rescued chickens and turkeys and guinea fowl and ducks and geese. Some of the ducks, you know, they've left of their wings. They've literally got the stick of their wing left and a couple of feathers because they're so old and haggard. They're gorgeous. He's got beehives. They've got a couple of rescued sheep, a couple of rescued donkeys, an aviary full of rescued birds that people, you know, buy at a great cost off of the black market, and then they get auctioned off. You know, some people put them in tiny cages, but these guys go to the aviary and the auction house and rescue them for the aviary, which is lovely.
That's cool.
We've actually got a canary sat on a nest, and we've had a little dove actually just fledge now. So that's fledging. So I'm flapping my hands trying to get the word fledge out. But no, because there is such a diverse array of plants, and there's lots of water, there's lots of fruit trees, it's a really balanced ecosystem. And I've seen bugs around that I've never seen in my life before. And I was a kid who was constantly crawling in the dirt, so I've seen a lot of bugs, you know. But it's phenomenal. You know, the birds are outstanding. I've had a pigeon lay an egg and fledge right next to me on the rig. I have a blackbird nest just to my left hand side down here. 2 chicks have just fledged, so we've only got 2 left, which is really exciting. I have another nest attached to the rig. We had blue tits nesting inside the rig. I looked out the bedroom window and I messaged Rich and I went, I think we've got a problem, mate. I'm watching Mr. Blue Tit fly in and out of the crossbeam of the rig with little sticks, and I think we have a nest. So
I'm gonna have to keep this now.
Yeah, can't do that.
I mean, I'm so into animals. I'm fascinated by the diversity, and I said on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, they asked me if I could have done anything else, what would it be? And I said, you know, I would have probably been a marine biologist or something like that.
That's
cool. What is it? Have you found a favorite one yet in the garden? Has there been one that stood out?
The favorite bird or bug? Just
in general, any animal that you found. Yeah.
I mean, I'm really obsessed with these blackbirds. They because I noticed the nest when they had literally just hatched, because I walked past with my barbell out the front door around the corner around here, and I noticed eggshells on the floor. And of course I stopped and I was like, hang on a minute, eggshells. And so I just had a little peek around the side of the bush, and then I can just see these little eyes, this little orange beak. Mr. Blackbird was currently sat on it. Mrs. was out, so I pulled my head out like, oh my God,
oh no,
oh my God, oh no. Jerry. And so now Mr. and Mrs. flying in and out with beaks full of worms. I've become very invested in that family.
That's cool. Talk me through the time when you had 24 pet rats.
Oh my God, how do you know about this? Who have you been talking to?
I can't reveal my sources.
We've got spies everywhere.
So just to clear something up, so these aren't like the rats that you maybe see on the London Underground. They're domesticated fancy rats, they're called.
Fancy rats.
Quote unquote fancy rats.
Oh, yeah.
So I had my first fancy rat when I was 10 years old, and she was gorgeous, and they're so super intelligent. And I just had pet rats throughout my life. Like I'd have a rat, she'd have a companion, one would die, so we'd get another one, and they'd just constant rats. And then of course I moved away from home and I didn't have my parents' supervision anymore. I could do what I like, you know. I've got my own kitchen, I've got my own bathroom, I could have my own rat room, and I did. So these cages were like palaces. They were huge. They had swings and hammocks and climby things and they were all litter trained. But somebody would call me and say, oh, there's 4 rats that need rescuing, can you help us out? We know you've got a big cage. So I'd look at my then fiance, I'd bat my eyelashes, and he'd go, okay, let's go and get them. So, you know, before I knew it, 4 became 24, and we had the girls all in a big cage and the boys, not because I'm all about segregation of the genders, but purely because they mate like absolute rampant rats.
So start with 24 and you end up with 4.
Like that.
Yeah.
This is the thing, and it happens so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of relationships have that problem as well, you know. Nothing to laugh about. With rats, it's faster, you know.
Yeah.
So you can't keep an eye on the little buggers. So yeah, it was lovely, and they sit on your shoulder. It's like, well, they share a bit of food with you. They're so hyper intelligent. You can teach them tricks. They can jump. They know their names, and I have to say, they're lovely. Having rats.
Class, do
you have other than the jungle you're in at the minute, do you have pets? Do you have a pet currently, or?
So technically yes, but no. So back with my parents, as it always happens with children, I'm 32. When they leave home, the parents get lumbered with the pets. When I moved to Essex, I couldn't take my cats with me. So they are still currently Nana and Grandpuss to Bok, my cat who looks like Felix, and Ophelia, my barrel of a cat. Actually, it's not a barrel anymore. That's really really hard on her weight, and I'm not going to fat shame her. She's really got intimate.
CrossFit cat.
My parents, gorgeous. My parents look after them, and they absolutely adore my parents. So I'm really lucky. No, I think we've got so much else going on at the moment. I'm desperate to rescue a dog, and I think I mention it at least 7 or 8 times a day. He regularly reminds me that we need to make sure we don't overstretch ourselves. So
yeah, we have 2 dogs here. One's called Dave and one's called Bo. And Bo would be our barrel of a dog if we were putting it that way.
Isn't it funny, when animals are fat they're cute, but when humans are fat
you're like, why would you let yourself get like this? And then there's the fat dog and you're like, I
have to sit down in 5 minutes.
Cool. So that's everything I had on my topics before our Instagram questions, other than what's next for you. So you did say that you touched on you'd like to get back into coaching maybe at some point for the classes. What's maybe not in the immediate future with the current situation the world is in, but
yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? So I'm just checking that nothing's in my nest. I thought I'd hear a crow then. Naturally, I'm on high alert because they're listening. So you'll see me with a crow in my hand in a minute. Say it's fine.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
We always do this. This
is my pet crow. I don't let go of.
So I've got a real hunger for education at the moment. So I'm trying to slow myself down in the amount of courses I keep wanting to take and book myself onto, because obviously that's expensive.
Yep.
And if you're not working, it's
even more expensive.
Yeah, exactly, even more expensive. I'd like to develop my coaching knowledge. I want to get on board doing a little bit of stuff with the FRF. I think they're doing a really, really cool thing with all the changes that we've had this year. You know, more so than ever, I feel. Obviously, we've had the athletes. What's it called? When somebody has the association that they've put together. Fantastic as well. You know what I'm talking about, don't
Yeah.
Good. Hopefully we can
Yeah, we go.
Yeah, no. One of us will find the word.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'd like to do some work with them. I'd like to develop my kids club, kind of make that bigger. I'd like to host kids classes eventually in the long term, kind of a specialist facility. My list came out then. And kind of, you know, take coaching kids to the next level and be exactly what they will need, you know. Do some outreach work about that sort of thing.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. That's exciting. Well, we wish you the best and everything that you're going for. Yeah, cool. So we always have the Ask Emelye a question that you kindly shared for us. And some of the questions that come in, like we were saying earlier, you got all the nice ones.
All the nice ones.
Our other ones have been
That's so nice.
torn apart.
I think that's a testament to my lovely following. Like I said earlier, I've got such a real nice following. Like so many soul sisters, so good. People who are just cheerleading for each other. It's really nice. It's nice to hear they've been to me.
So the first one's a longer one. The other ones are kind of short and sharp. So I'll get through the first one first. Funny that. And this one's from my girlfriend. And she's asking, being a smaller athlete, having to gain weight essentially for the sport that we're in. So she had trouble before a few years back of anorexia and things like that, and she's obviously overcome that massively. But she says in her head on days, especially rest days, she might have like a fat day or things like that. So she was just asking advice on what advice would you give someone to kind of overcome these thoughts if they kind of creep in and things like that. Hard question, but what advice would you give to someone like that?
I think this is the thing that a lot of people resonate with, although, you know, what sounds like what your girlfriend's gone through is obviously quite similar to what I've been through as well. And there are definitely levels of feeling this kind of guilt, I suppose. We can put a blanket word on it. But of course, when you do have those kind of disordered feelings around food and body image, it becomes so much more than that. And it isn't just a little bit of guilt that you can out-train. It's an overwhelming feeling that you just can't shake. And it takes over your thoughts. You dream about it, think about it. It's the first thing you think about when you wake up, the last thing when you go to bed. So, like, really, I'm such an empath. I always feel hurt and real emotion for people that struggle with stuff like that, because I mean, not just that I've been there, but so hard, torment. So in terms of dealing with it, I guess you have to understand that the body makes its changes when it rests. You know, the training is the stimulus for the change, and the rest is when the change actually happens. So you cause all that stress to your body, and then you have to feed it for the stress to be effective, as it were. And then in the resting is when the change and the dynamic is allowed to kind of, dynamic's completely the wrong word, the growth in your body is allowed to happen. So I think trying to become as familiar as you can with the biology of training has really helped me. So looking at it on a scientific level to kind of outsmart that nasty little bitch of a voice in my head that I say no, because look, I read here in this book about the science of training, and actually I have to do this. And definitely having somebody you can be accountable to. And I think saying to somebody, right, tomorrow is going to be my rest day. I'm really nervous about it already. And plan kind of, if she's worried about, or anybody is worried about eating on that day, I have one day a week where I don't track at all. Sometimes it will be a training day. So like a Saturday, I won't track, because although I'm training, I might want to have a couple of bag of pop chips and a glass of, and a bottle of wine. I try to say glass and be classy, but let's you know, and if I'm tracking on that day, I'm suddenly hyper aware. So what I'll do is I'll move my fitness pal off my home screen, and I won't track for that day. And I will just let it go, and I'll promise myself that, and I'll make a bargain with myself, and I'll look at myself in the mirror, and I'll be like, you know, my body is my vehicle, it's my weapon of choice. I choose to fuel it well.
Mm-hmm.
But also choosing to fuel it well means it also needs that time out. And as with anything, too much of a good thing can also be bad.
Yeah.
You need to let off that steam. So definitely looking into the science of it and consoling yourself with the science that you need that rest. Your body needs the fuel to live, and you need the nourishment. It's just not fuel for energy, it's also for your brain and for your organs. And you know, you need that fat because it coats your nerves, and if you're stressing them out with loads of bloody deadlifts, you need that avocado.
Yeah.
And you know, and to let yourself have the time off of tracking, and to be nicer to yourself like that, and reach out to other people. Say, I'm really struggling, I need to have a rest day. If I'm really struggling, I'll message, you know, I'll say to Tim, I need your help. My coach at We Dominate Nutrition, he knows if he doesn't hear from me that things are going badly because I'm avoiding him. But normally, because I'm struggling, he'll go, how are things? I'll be like, well, you know. So yeah, and just being honest that you need the help. I think everyone's very afraid to reach out and be honest. It's a very vulnerable thing to do, but like with snatching, the first time you do it, it'll be bloody terrifying and you might be a bit shit at it. But if you do it enough times, soon enough, it'll become second nature, and reaching out will be your automatic response.
Awesome. She's
welcome to message me anytime as well. Like I want people to know if they have issues like that, they can speak to me. I might not get back to them immediately because I don't have notifications.
You get there. Yeah, I appreciate that. She's one of your biggest fans. So she'll appreciate that also. But yeah, so all the other ones are like short and sharp. So to date, favorite sanctional. What's your favorite sanctional?
Oh bollocks!
all the other sanctionals won't find out. Don't worry. It's
It's weird because I've got favorite events from different ones, but overall, Reykjavik. Was
cool.
a really cool group of people with me, and my eyes were just like this the whole time.
What would be your favorite event then? If you touched on you've got events from different ones, that might be even harder.
Oh god.
Favorite event from Reykjavik was the handstand push-up and overhead squat one.
Oh, okay.
A race. It was phenomenally horrible. It was so nasty. I loved it. But it was nasty, but it was stuff that I was confident with and I could do, you know. Like Dota is really, really tough. I still struggle a little bit with the like muscle ups and stuff like that. So and the barbell was quite heavy for me relatively. But that one was amazing. And the mile run for time at Lowlands was my favorite event.
There we go.
I just love running. Or off.
It's not something I'm very good at. Ends meeting.
Ends meeting. You get away. I can't run.
The next one we kind of touched on was the regionals versus sanctionals. We kind of covered
that. Yeah.
We covered that. It was just asking your thoughts on the different ones, but we covered that. Unless you have anything else that you'd like to add.
It would be nice to have an element of both.
Yeah,
definitely.
Cool. Yeah. Next one was how do you structure your training? I think they mean like how is your day kind of laid out? Is there an AM session, a PM session?
Well, at the moment, 100% based on the British weather.
Well, yeah.
Fair, yeah, okay.
Like genuinely, it's like it's dry, quick go. So yeah, very much on the weather at the moment. More often than not, 2 sessions a day, 5 days a week. 1 complete rest day, put your feet up, do nothing. 1 get out, move, go for a swim, a little gentle run if I can be trusted, something like that. You know, the kind of run where coach goes, I want to see a screenshot of the GPS afterwards so I know how fast you went.
Heart rate.
Oh shit. Somebody else's. So 2 sessions a day. I'll always have my kind of big conditioning split apart from my strength, so you haven't got the contradiction of training engines.
Yeah.
A lot of kind of non-CrossFit style stuff on a Monday, Tuesday. A lot of lower body strength, endurance, explosivity, Olympic lifting on the Monday. A lot more upper body on the Tuesday, loads of gymnastics. lots of aerobic in the evening, and then come Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we get a bit of CrossFit.
Here we go.
Here we do.
Yeah,
That's a day
good.
of 10 rounds of 10 wall balls and 10 toaster bars. Simple, spicy, splendid.
Oh, okay, good.
There we go. Boom. What is, you maybe just answer that question. What's the favorite part of your day?
I mean, the psychopath in me wants to say my 3-minute cold shower in the morning. I really love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Cleanser on the face, let it set, turn the temperature all the way down to cold, timer on in the background. Either put the radio on or like a little podcast, like an Increase Your Impact kind of podcast, like Justin Sewer. 3, 2, 1, turn it all the way fully on, let it hit me. 3 minutes of ice cold water.
Whoa, breathing.
It's bloody hard when you start, but now I don't feel right if I don't do it.
Okay.
So it's just 3 minutes completely to myself, where all I'm focusing on is the feeling of the water and it being cold. I guess it's 3 minutes of mindfulness, really.
Yeah.
You know, a really crude version of mindfulness.
Well, I didn't expect that.
Oh, and feeding the sheep and
There we go.
That sounds.
the opposite.
Yeah. Although all the listeners want me to say, oh yeah, the really heavy squats, that's my favourite part. Absolutely the worst part.
I like it. It's different. It's different.
Yeah, 100%. What is your favourite colour?
Yellow.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
Not
Perfect.
to wear. Dark green to wear. Yellow.
Okay.
Yellow to just be around.
Yeah. Favourite animal?
Oh,
I love a tapir. Have you ever seen a baby tapir?
I think I have.
Well, they're one of the cutest
I think I
looking
have.
things in the whole entire world. Something like that, or I'd like a pangolin or something gorgeous like that. You know,
Off
do you know
the
what
wall.
I mean?
Yeah.
Also,
Off the wall.
make
I'm
great,
liking it.
Cumberland sausage. But no, yeah, something like a pangolin or a tapir, and also your bog standard cat. I do love a good cat.
They love a good cat. Fair.
I have one more from me, and I think Jamesy's got some
There's.
extra. Has Chris Quinney recovered from the burpee and worm thruster workout from
He's
regional?
recovered from the workout, but he's never recovered from the humiliation and the roasting that we still give him all the time. Whenever there's an opportunity to mention it, it's almost like a race to see who can mention it first. I want to roast him. I want to roast him. I want to roast him.
So somehow in your questions, where most people get made fun of, they've somehow managed to make fun of Chris Quinney and not
you, yeah.
That's all I have, Jimsy.
Yeah,
That's
the
great.
few that.
That's brilliant. He'll be made up that he's so notorious. Fabulous.
Yeah, so there's just a few more that were on the back end of the Instagram post, but what is your, I suppose this could be one question, your favourite and your worst movement, and if you could create a perfect workout, what would it be for you?
My favourite movement tend to be kind of like body weight gymnastic stuff. So handstand push-ups, strict handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
I love a pistol. I love a bar muscle up. Now that I can do them, bar muscle up. But I couldn't do them. I bloody hated them. So I can imagine something like Mary, but instead of the pull-ups, it would be bar muscle ups. And maybe if you could also put in there some kind of like hang power clean, maybe it's something like 50 for the girls and 70 for the boys, that kind of a weight.
Yeah.
So that kind of like that repeatable RX weight
Yeah.
that you can do a lot of reps of, but isn't so heavy or so light you're just bouncing off the guys. Yeah,
Sweet.
that really. Yeah.
Cool. Your favorite genre, it just says favorite workout music, but I guess what would you listen to when you're training? What gets you fired up?
So well,
Well,
you know, Spotify does those daily mixes.
Yeah.
my most
Oh yeah.
my most frequently listened to tracks are Elton John,
Okay.
Billy Joel,
Okay.
Queen, David Bowie, Rod Stewart, and all kind of late 70s, early 80s esque, like Queen and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff really gets me going.
Yeah,
I'm
no, that's cool. We get
Yeah.
down with that.
So,
We get down with that.
I'm really not into like drum and bass and heavy metal
Oh no.
like that. Oh no.
So that's cool. So one of my
Yeah.
most played one is the 80s rock playlist that we'll listen to. Massive Motley Crue fan. So that's always on when we train. So that's there we go. There's nothing out there.
Fabulous.
Okay, so I'll go down with, like, for me, this is maybe one of the hardest questions anyone could ever ask me, but what is your favourite movie?
My favourite movie.
Yeah.
I've recently watched Rocket Man, loved that, but I'm very biased. I love Elton and I also love the guy that plays him. I really love him, Taron. You've seen Divergent series?
Yes.
I mean, it's a little bit, I'm really into them, really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
God, I'm really not a movie person. This is a really hard question for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't really watch movies much at all. God, I'm really rubbish for this one. I'm very sorry. People have just been like, next, skip. Sorry.
It's quite all right. It's quite all right. Like I said, like I'm a big movie fan. I would struggle with this question. Like, even I've just asked you, and then in the back of my head, I'm trying to think, and I'm like, what are movies? I'm like, so fair play. Okay, so there's one more from Instagram, and then I've got the one that we always finish it on. Yeah, it's a stupid question, but it's fine. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh. No, it definitely wouldn't be my regular evening meal that I have out of ease. Definitely. Even though it's very simple. One meal for the rest of my life, or do you know what? Don't mean to blow my own trumpet, but I make a really good Thai curry.
Boom. Perfect.
Nice bit of tempeh, bit of jasmine rice or coconut rice, or full fat coconut milk, because it just has that. Yeah,
Sweet.
probably Thai curry. Yeah.
There we go.
Happy days. Right, that's the Instagram one's gone. So coming up to the end, like I said, these are stupid. Like, and I try and I build it up. It's just ridiculous, but I try and tie it into whoever's on the podcast. So you're sitting there in the garden. It's a lovely evening. Leaves dying. A wee balloon comes along with a nice little kitten on it for your next cat, and to the kitten is strapped a bottle of beer that you would love to drink. What is that beer? What's your favourite beer?
Well, I'm gluten intolerant, so it would have to be a bottle of Krabby's alcoholic ginger
beer. Oh, that would say it's still beer. I like it.
So we had we had Stephen Fawcett on the last episode, and he was the first one to not pick a beer. So if you didn't have to pick, he picked the cider. And we judged him massively for it.
Yeah.
So if you had the choice of anything,
anything that wasn't beer.
Anything that wasn't beer.
A whole bottle of wine, or
a whole bottle of wine.
I'm a bit of a gin wanker.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So I really like very herbaceous, floral, botanical gins. My best friend gave me one with cactus and lime in it the other day, and that was very, very nice. Yeah.
Oh.
So probably some kind of. I do like a bit of mermaid gin from the Isle of Wight as well. It's nice.
There you go.
Perfect.
Some gin.
There we go. Nailed it.
Alcoholic. You're making me look like an alcoholic.
That's fine. We're closet alcoholics anyway. So, well, I mean, I think it's gotten to the point where people realise that we're not even closet alcoholics anymore. Lockdown hasn't helped.
It's lockdown's fault. It's like lockdown was 3 years ago.
and then Brewdog delivering beers the same day you order them. It's just
they're out to get us.
Yeah, it's not our fault.
Awesome. With that, that's everything we have. thank you.
Thank you. That was cool.
Really appreciate your,
Oh, so
your
much
time.
fun.
We're glad.
I'm sat here and I'm thinking, I've got cramp in my face from smiling and laughing so much.
That's cool.
Like,
As I still think when we do these, and I'm like, oh, we're just we're still just useless at this. I don't have no idea what I'm doing, but it's cool.
Nah, no, it's cool.
It's cool. It's cool.
Had a great time. Thank you. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yes. Nailed it. Nailed it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you for asking me. It's always nice to feel wanted.